Rock and Roll Geek Show 824.
Still rocking after all these years.
This is the story of my rock and roll butler.
This is it, the show that started it all. Often imitated, but never equal. From San Francisco, USA. Online since 2004. It's the one and only Rock and Roll Geek Show. With the original Rock and Roll Geek, Michael Butler.
Welcome to the Rock and Roll Geek Show. My name's Michael Butler. Thanks a lot for joining me. I really appreciate it. Today is Sunday, April 1st, 2018, and it is 4:11 p.m. in the afternoon when I'm doing this show. Happy Cheap Trick Day, everybody. I apologize for not doing a show, and it's probably been close to 3 weeks now, or it's going on 3 weeks. I have been sick as hell for the last 3 weeks. I usually take olive leaf extract at the first sign of a slightest cold, and I did that this time, but didn't seem to work. And I've had the worst cough, and I've just been extremely under the weather. But I'm powering. I'm still a little bit sick, but I'm gonna power through it with you, friends, because that's the way it's got to be done. Plus, I got somebody here visiting named Michael Street, who's in the studio. How you doing, Michael Street?
Exhausted, hungover, and trying to regenerate myself with Tecate.
Michael Street flew into town. He did a home invasion of the Rock and Roll Geek Show, and we went to see The Darkness last night. First of all, I'll have to ask you, Michael Street. This is he's been here since Friday. I picked him up from the airport, and I purposely did not show him my closet-sized studio because I wanted to get his first impressions as soon as he walked in. He walked in about 45 seconds ago. Give me your impressions of the studio here. I ask everybody who comes in.
It's a little too big. You might want to consider downsizing.
Yeah, it's a little hot, a little big.
Yeah. I mean, there's too much leg room.
Yeah. That's more podcasting humor from Michael Street. So it's cramped. It's cluttered with junk. He had to step over a box of stuff, a box of books. I have the Van Halen Running with the Devil book on the floor here. Van Halen Rising. Todd Cunningham sent me. Still Competition book on the floor. I have the Cheap Trick bobbleheads on the floor here as well that I have not taken out of the box yet.
Oh, I see.
And he about tripped over everything. What do you think? So you approve of this studio or not? He doesn't care. He doesn't give a shit.
If I were to do it, I would do an exact replica, and I would probably pay you to design it for me.
Yeah, that's just that good.
Draw the blueprints up, paint it, you name it.
So what did you think of The Darkness last night?
I could have done with them doing about 2 or 3 more songs.
Yeah, they played for about an hour and 15 minutes. I have to type up a show review on the Rock and Roll Geek website, rockandrollgeek.com, because the Darkness management got David Benda and me into the show for free. And in exchange for that, I have to do a review on the Rock and Roll Geek site, rockandrollgeek.com. I'm in the process of writing it as we speak, but I am extremely exhausted because I had a little bit too much to drink last night, thanks to Michael Street buying about 4 $10 beers.
I had to earn my room and board here.
Yeah. And we drank a little too much, but I drove home. I opened both eyes while I was driving home, so managed to make it home. Had to get up at 5 a.m. Pardon me, I have this cough. I'm still going. I had to get up at 5 a.m. to go do some work, and left Michael Street asleep on the couch. But so I'm on about 4 hours sleep. So this is going to be Michael Street's show tonight. He's going to do all the music. Yeah, anyway, we went to see The Darkness last night. They played about an hour and 15 minutes. I had a great time. It was a fantastic show. They should have played probably another half hour, I think. It seemed like it ended as fast as it started, but it was a really good show. So if they come to your town, go. You will not be disappointed unless you're expecting more than an hour and 15 minutes set. But other than that, it was a great show. All right, Michael Street, this is your show, my friend.
Well, all right. You just made me aware that it's Cheap Trick Day, so
Yes.
let's
Put that microphone a little closer to your mouth there.
let's go ahead and let's honor them.
All right.
What do you say?
All right. We're playing. Oh, what's he pulling out here?
Well, you're not going to be too overwhelmed with this, but I had to get you a couple of the new Japanese blue spec remasters.
Blue spec remake. What's a blue spec?
I don't know. You're asking the wrong guy, but they sound better than the Sony.
Oh.
So.
Oh, look at this. He's bringing gifts.
I had to get. Let's see. Next position, please, because I think sonically it suffered. So
they made it sound better on the remaster?
Yes.
It's all in Japanese.
Translate. Go ahead.
Blue Spec CD2. It says, it's in Japanese, and I'm not going to say it because I don't want. My Japanese is a little bit broken Japanese, and it could be construed as racist, so I'm not going to read it. But it has all the song titles, and it says, "Oh, it's quite a nice package." Should I put the CD in, or what should I do? Here, we should be playing something from it. Ooh, look! The CD is in the shape of the Epic Records with the vinyl, with the label exactly like the vinyl copy of Next Position, Please. On the first side, it's let's see, only on side one. Can't see. It's written in really small. It's got a nice little booklet, all with Japanese liner notes. Not one word of English. Oh, there's a little bit of lyrics are in English. It's got the ad that came on the insert of the vinyl of Next Position, Please, with all the rest of the Cheap Trick catalog at the time. The inside jacket, very nice. This is quite a nice package. Thank you, Michael Street. What else did you got there? Ooh, in color.
I think I've always heard you refer to that as, am I right? Is that your favorite album?
My favorite Cheap Trick,
Okay.
Yes it is. Because that's when I saw them in color. And it has also the Epic label on the CD. But this time the Epic is in Epic record label because in color the label was orange. And they did the exact replica of the vinyl. That's really cool. And on the front, it has Robin. It's just like the record cover on the front. And on the back, upside down, it's got Bunny and Rick Nielsen. And it even has a gatefold, just like in color. Ooh, it's got a little insert here too. This is probably not the best podcasting opening this on the show, but what the hell? Who cares? Thank you, Michael Street. That's very generous of you. You ordered these from Japan, or you got them when were in Japan?
I've never been to Japan,
Oh.
so yes, they were ordered from CD Japan.
So are we going to play something from one of these?
Well, I mean, we've kind of built up a little too much momentum to not to.
All right, which one are we going to play?
Well, let's go with a nice deep track off of Next Position, please.
All right, let me pull out the disc here. Take it out of the thing, stick it in the CD player there. All right, what song are we going to? What song are we going to play, Michael Street? Da 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 da.
Let's go with I Don't Love Here Anymore.
I don't love here anymore. Okay, is it loading up? Uh-oh, it doesn't seem to be loading in my computer. Wait a minute, it's coming. It's coming. Da 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 da. Is it? Is it coming? Yes, it is coming. Okay. All right. Ooh, look, it's got a bunch of bonus tracks on it. Did you know that?
Yes, they both do.
It's got. Okay, so it's got
You can put it in sequence.
acapella intro of Up the Creek. How do you put it in sequence? I have it in sequence, don't I?
No, look at the track numbers. You got it alphabetical order right now.
How do you do the track number? Oh, okay, here we go. Okay, got it. Oh, man, I'm an idiot. So it's got, what is the bonus track? It's got a short version of Dancing the Night Away, a cappella intro of Up the Creek. Let's hear a little bit of that. All right, there you go. There you go. All right. So what are we going to play, Michael Street? It's got a bunch of good bonus. What else has it got? Don't Make Our Love a Crime demo, 7-inch version of Up the Creek, another version of Up the Creek with the acapella intro, which you heard, and some other songs. Short version of Dance the Night Away. It's very nice. I can't wait to see what the bonus tracks are on In Color. Probably the Albini thing, I'm guessing.
Right.
So what are we going to play from? What deep cut are we going to play from?
Track
position,
3.
Please. Track 3, I Don't Love Here Anymore. I Don't Love Here Anymore. There you go. All right. So I'm looking at the In Color, and it doesn't have the Albini version of re-recorded, which I'm glad because I don't like that. But it has Oh Boy instrumental version of Oh Boy. What album's Oh Boy on?
No album.
Oh, it's not. Okay. Instrumental version of Oh Boy. I Want You to Want Me alternate version, which may or may not be Steve Albini. I don't know.
No, none of it is.
Single version of Southern Girls. an Ardent Studios demo of Southern Girls. Southern Girls is my favorite Cheap Trick song too, by the way. And You're All Talk, an early studio version, and then Come On, Ardent Studios demo. All right. Well, thank you again, Michael Street. I really appreciate it. Happy Cheap Trick Day. Did you know it was Cheap Trick Day today?
When you told me 30 minutes ago.
So it was just a coincidence that you brought these reissues.
And me wearing this nice shirt right now.
Yeah, he is wearing a Cheap Trick in Japan, and on the back it says "Greatest Thing Since Transistors." Is that,
correct?
Yeah, I have the same shirt.
Is it red?
Yes, it is. Yes. All right, so I have a few audio comments to play as well. So interspersed with Michael Street's music, we're going to play some audio comments. I'm going to play one of those now, okay? Is that all right? I have not listened to these, so I don't know if these may be good, they may be bad. We'll see. Hello,
Michael,
caller.
Hi, this is Paul Raub.
Hey,
I'm
Paul
a
Raub.
long-time listener from Florida.
Oh.
Well, I don't know how we count that. I listened in the very earliest days, back when I was...
Paul Raub, new caller. I've never met Paul Raub before, so welcome, Paul Raub.
The only person I knew who knew what a podcast was. And been away for a little while. I think listening to mostly tech podcasts in the intervening years.
Twit.
That's my job, and I'm a nerd. But really glad to rediscover your podcast and find out that everything I loved about it
So
is
he stopped listening and then came back. Well, I'm glad to have you back, Paul Raub.
there. And it still sounds fresh and fun, and obviously you're still having fun doing it.
Yes.
And that's awesome.
Yes.
Signed up for the Patreon. I'm on board. Looking forward to hearing more.
Thank you, Paul Raub.
And, I
by the
sent a
way,
few music links
thank
your way
hold-
in the
hold on a
email.
second. Thank you, everybody, for donating. Without your donations, this show would die a horrible, putrid, stench-filled of pneumonia death. So thank you, too, Paul Raub, for the Patreon donor. I really appreciate it. I'm going to back up what he said here.
I'm on board. Looking forward to hearing more. And I sent a few music links your way in the email.
Oh, I have to look for
One of
those.
which is this band called American Noise, which was a favorite of mine as a teenager in Cleveland. And if you weren't a rock fan in Cleveland in the early 80s, you'd never know who these guys were. The record company folded right after the album came out, I believe. But in that great melodic, poppy, but ballsy rock vein that I think you seem to appreciate like I do, I'd think of them as sort of heavier Raspberries, maybe. Like there's a keyboard player in common there, maybe. Anyway, I would check out Take It All and the title track, and there's also a couple of great ballads on there. Anyone with a Heart and Hollywood Boulevard are fantastic. I love the whole record, always have. And I don't know if it counts as self-promotion because it's a band that hasn't existed for a couple decades, and you can only download the album for free at this point. I'm not selling it, but there's a song of mine that I think would really fit in with your tastes, and maybe you just appreciate it. It's called Proud. And I don't love everything I've ever recorded, but I've never gotten tired of this one.
All right.
There's some hooks in there. 20 years later, I'll give myself some credit. There's some hooks, and not the worst snarly guitar solo I ever put to tape. And it was actual tape, I think. Anyway, hope you like it, or if you don't, maybe keep that to yourself. Nah, I'm a big boy. I can take it.
All right. All right, Paul
Thanks for
Raub.
keeping this up all these years. Looking forward to hearing more.
For you, since you're a new patron, I'm going to do a little bit of listening with Butler with Paul Raub's song called Proud. Here we go. Here we go! You can help me review this.
Be glad to.
Wonders of the world, so many books to say you read, so many keys to born every minute, and I'm sure you know one when you smell one. You ain't saying shit, but you're saying it loud. You must be proud. You must be proud. You must be proud. You must be.
There you go. Friend of the show, Paul Raub. What do you think, Michael Street?
Quite enjoyable.
It sounds a lot like Husker Du.
Well, I was going to say Bob Mould solo.
Yeah, you're probably right.
Ladder replacements.
Yeah. It's good, Paul Raub. By the way, you can download his entire record for free. I put a link on RnRGeek.com. So look on the show notes at RnRGeek.com for this episode, and there's a link where you can download the entire album. Or maybe a pay what you want. I don't know. But if you like it, go get it for free. And tell him you heard him on the Rock and Roll Geek Show. So maybe he'll up his patron donations to double.
Wink, right. Wink.
Okay. Michael Street, it's back to you, friend. I have this very bad cough, so I'm going to be coughing throughout this show, and I apologize in advance.
Apology accepted.
Thank you. Appreciate that.
Well, on the ride back, you probably don't remember because you were like on...
Ride back from where?
Exactly.
From today?
From the show last night.
The show last night. Okay, yeah.
We both expressed our love for Peter Wolf.
Oh, that's right. We had a little Geils band talk
so
on the way home.
I made it a point that we're going to play something by Geils band.
All right.
But it has to be a live track because that's where you really get the pure essence of what they were all about.
Do you think Geils band should be in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame?
Absolutely.
Yes, I totally agree. It's a travesty.
The world hasn't been exposed to their greatness.
Do you know Bad Company hasn't even been considered for the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame either?
Foreigner.
I don't think Free has either.
Yeah, Paul Rogers. Neither has The Firm.
But
figured I'd
definitely
throw it in.
Jay Giles' band should be. They've been considered, but
Yeah,
not very
I mean,
seriously
it's
considered.
kind of becoming stale now. They've
Yeah.
been nominated, God knows how many times. It's like in the, Baseball Hall of Fame. I think the Veterans Committee, will vote him in. Leon Russell got in that way a few years back. So I think that's probably their next option.
All right, well, we'll see. So what Jay Giles band we're going to hear?
We're going to go to the first live record, Full House,
All
which
right.
is just
All
pure energy.
Yes.
And how can you not like...
We were talking about Rebuta Laputa on the way.
Which is off the second live album,
Yeah.
Blow Your Face
Yes,
Out.
which is a great live album. I saw Peter, I've already said this many times, but I saw Peter Wolf solo at Yoshi's in San Francisco. There was a seated venue, it was all tables, and there was about 100 people there, maybe. It was fantastic. That was a Midnight Souvenirs tour. Then I saw him at Great American Music Hall on this last tour, and it was great as well. It wasn't as good as the Midnight Souvenirs tour, but because it was a bigger venue, it was still great. Never got to see Jay Giles Band. You ever see them play?
They got back together the first time in 99 or 2000. And once we got word of that, me and one of my good friends, Robbie, we were like, we're there. So we took off on a road trip to Chicago. Left North Carolina all the way to Chicago. Saw them, drove back same night.
Wow. How far of a drive is that?
It was 10 hours one way.
Why'd you drive back? You didn't have the money for a room?
I think my friend was a tight ass. I looked.
And you were too much of a tight ass to pay his share.
Sure. Needless to say.
How tight was that? All right.
Needless to say, this was fantastic show. They did not disappoint.
Yeah. I wish I could have seen them.
The only original member not involved was the drummer. So
Okay, yeah, that guy was a great drummer too.
Yeah.
The same drummer from Centerfold and all that, and Freeze Frame. He's the original
They
drummer,
had the
right?
original lineup, the whole
The Magic Dick. Jay Giles was still in the band.
Danny Klein, the bass player. The drummer, Stephen Joe Blad, for whatever reason, he hasn't participated in any of the...
So they had the guy who played with Joe Perry on his solo tour.
The guy that played, all I remember was they said he played with Henry Rollins.
Huh. All right.
So,
All right.
I can't even remember
Not
his
Josh
name.
Freeze.
No, absolutely not.
Okay. All right, so what Jay Giles band we going to hear?
We are going with...
10 hours all the way back, there and back. That's 20 hours.
We were 20 years old at the time as well.
So you drove the day before.
No.
You drove...
Got up at 7 in the morning, got there right at showtime.
Did you guys split driving duties?
Yeah, I'm sure.
No drinking then?
No, it was a lot of pot smoking.
Oh, wow. Well, there you go. Nice. Did you go to work the next morning?
No.
No, because the show ended at 11, so you got home about 9 in the morning.
It was the weekend, so it didn't matter.
That's dedication to rock, friends.
Look, how many times has Jay Giles came back around? Think about it.
I would have got a Motel 6. I would have sprung for the $35 for a motel. Or back then it was probably $7 or $8.
That was the
I would have
plan.
sprung for it.
That was the
And
plan.
his girlfriend was probably fighting with him on the whole time, and
I remember...
had to get home. He was afraid his girlfriend was going to cheat on him or something.
Who knows? I remember coming back. I fell asleep, and we're basically around Knoxville, and we're on the curvy mountain roads.
Uh-huh.
He's losing it. I specifically remember having to put the Scorpions and Dio on, crank it up just to revive him.
Did you go back to sleep?
When I got to
No,
his
after
place?
no, when he was swerving and about to drive off the mountain, did you go back to sleep and trust that he was not going to drive off the mountain, or did you stay awake after that?
I was fearing for my life, so it's a little difficult to just ease back into
Sleep
unconsciousness.
and in reality, how much would you rather drive off the mountain when you're awake or when you're asleep? Because either way, if he's driving and he drives off the mountain, there's not anything you can do from the passenger side.
Well, I guess it really wouldn't matter either way.
You could have
That
wrestled the
situ-
wheel from him and demanded to drive, but you were too tired. You figured you'd take a chance and let him suffer.
Yeah, you're right.
All right, what J. Giles band are we going to play?
We are going to play Cruising for Love.
All right.
Off the outstanding live album, Full House,
Right.
which I bought you a T-shirt of several years ago.
I have it. I still have it. It's gray. I wear it quite often.
Good to hear.
I didn't know you bought that for me. Thank you again.
Everybody gotta get it crazy with it. Blow your face out, baby. Hang it out. Back in the city, cruising for love again. Back out on Main Street, cruising for love again. Got my mind made up, baby, gonna find myself a friend. Oh, baby, I don't know what to do. Baby, 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 I don't know what to do. Ain't no mathematician, but I'd sure like to count on you. Oh, hey. Cruising for love, love ain't nowhere in sight. I'm cruising for love, love ain't nowhere in sight. Go. I made a bet. Gonna find me some loving tonight. Gonna find. Come on.
There you go. Peter Wolf, just as good now as he was back then, too.
I wish I could have came out here and seen him, because those last couple solo records are really strong.
I saw him. You remember when he had that album with the song "Lights Out"? Lights Out.
Yeah, his first solo record, what broke the band up.
Yeah, I saw him at Slim's on that tour. So I was with my wife when my wife and I were just dating. I don't think we were married yet. And, she didn't like it and wanted to leave halfway through.
Have you forgiven her?
I should have
Did you
seen
leave?
a red flag. Yeah, I had to leave. I was things you'll do for love.
You're a better man than I.
It was good too, man. I was thoroughly enjoying it. I was pissed, but
It would have
couldn't
been
say
over
anything.
for me.
I couldn't say anything. Yep. Here's a tech tip for everybody. Don't do it. Don't do what I did, friend. Stay for the entire show. All right. How about another audio comment?
That'd be great.
All right. How about, here we go.
Hey, Michael Butler, Joe Pawlak from
Hey, Joe.
Germantown,
Hey,
Wisconsin.
Joe
How you
Pawlak.
doing, man?
I'm super great. Couldn't be better. Thanks for asking.
Good to hear, man.
think he might be a
Hey, I'm just
patron,
checking
too.
in with a show review of the March 15th Black Star Riders.
Joe Pawlak is a $6.66 patron. Thank you, Joe Pawlak. Appreciate that.
Saxon and Judas Priest
Yes.
show at the
By the
Covelli
way,
Center.
the Saxon is doing they're on tour with, like Paul just said, they're on tour. It's Judas Priest, Saxon, and Black Star Riders. And on days off, some of these bands will do headlining shows. Well, they have a day off before the San Francisco show, and Saxon is doing a headlining show at his place called Cornerstone in Berkeley, and Butlers are supporting. So if you're in the Bay Area on whenever that is, come say hi, friend.
In Youngstown, Ohio. It was the second show on their Firepower
Second
tour,
one.
and really overall fantastic show. So a couple of thoughts. Black Star Riders started out. Sound was a little muddy, kind of okay, but they played some of their newer songs recent. It was a little hard to hear. I think they had Boys Are Back in Town from the Thin Lizzy set, so that was
You ever
okay.
see Black Star Riders, Michael Street?
Not under the Black Star Riders moniker. I did see them as Thin Lizzy, excuse me, Thin Lizzy, opening for Judas Priest several years ago.
Back when they did that tour, the Butlers they played it. They did sheds at amphitheaters. Butlers played a side stage at that show.
Oh,
And
why didn't you come to Winston-Salem so I could have
Well, we
seen
didn't.
you?
We didn't do the tour. We just did local.
Did you
when they
have
came out here.
bad agents or something?
Yeah. Yes. All right. Back to you, Paul, or Joe Pawlak.
So, otherwise, a pretty undistinguished 40 minutes to start up the show.
I actually think their latest album, Heavy Fire, is a lot better than any of their other albums.
I love it.
The theater filled up. I think it holds about 7,000 for concerts of this size.
That's pretty good.
And
They filled
I'd say it's
7,000?
about 90-95%
Wow,
full.
that's great.
It was a pretty good
It's
sized crowd.
Midwest.
So next up was Saxon. Biff is great. If you haven't
Yes.
seen him, he's funny as heck. He has
Saw
a-
them open for UFO when UFO came last year or the year before, and actually they were way better than UFO. I have to say.
interesting stage presence as he goes along. But
band's
it
great.
was a good show.
I
And
like
they
that
actually
bass
sounded
player.
way better than I thought Black Star Riders did.
Yeah.
And sprinkled in a couple of classics, mostly stuff off their new album.
No Wheels of
So
Steel.
they had Motorcycle Man and finished off with Denim and Leather, which was great, obviously. He pulled some jackets out of the crowd, a denim jacket and a leather one, and was stalking the crowd. But Biff's a trip, man. So
Yeah,
if you
he's
ever get a
great.
chance, I wouldn't mind seeing a whole set from those guys from the new age of British heavy metal from the
That's
80s.
right.
I thought they did a good job, and it was a good prep for Priest. So, getting into Priest, we'd all kind of talked about what's it going to look like. Obviously, no KK. Richie Faulkner comes in
You
about
got a
5-6
ball-headed
years
guy
ago.
taking.
No Glenn.
Glenn's place.
Okay, what are they going to do with their producer / guitarist?
I'm
Andy
sure he sounded
Sneap?
great.
Didn't know what to think, but they kicked it off. Their intro music was War Pigs, and man, that really got the crowd going. Everybody
They did
was
the
singing.
exact same thing last tour, Redeemer of Souls tour. That's the name of the album, Redeemer of Souls. Yep. They did War Pigs too as the intro tape, I believe.
Long, it was pretty awesome. They had a recorded intro of Guardians off of their new album, and they came out with Firepower, which I didn't look at any of the set list ahead of time because I wanted to be surprised with what was going on.
We were just talking about that last night. I refused to read reviews of that Darkness show because I didn't want to find out what they played, and more importantly, I didn't want to find out what they did not play. But yeah, I did. I saw the Judas Priest set list, and it's a good set list. And I'm not going to the Judas Priest show because I can't afford $250. But if I was, I would not have looked at the set list.
And I thought they did great. They came out with Firepower. I figured they'd do Lightning Strike next, but after Firepower, the whole next probably hour of the show was a lot of surprises, at least for me. I thought it was great. They came out with Running Wild, and
That's
after
a great
doing a little
one.
research, it looks
One
like
of my favorite ones from Hellbent.
the first time they've played that since 1980 with Rob on vocals,
a great one.
and that was fantastic.
One of my favorite Judas Priest
off of
songs.
Hellbent for Leather. Then they went back to British Steel with Grinder.
Grinder!
Sinner off of Sin After Sin. Again, a lot of
Sinner,
these first
again,
time they
Sinner.
played in almost 10
Yeah,
years.
Sinner, they did. That's on Unleashed in the East too. So that was a staple of their shows a long time ago.
Wings of Destiny with the Ripper.
That's one of my favorite Priest tunes. You're in for a surprise. You're in for a shock. It's a great one.
And then
man.
back to a new one with Lightning Strike.
Yeah, okay.
And I thought they did really well on that. I thought Rob sounded pretty well. I mean, you go into these things.
He's
you never
better than he's ever been, actually.
know what to expect.
But I have to say they probably tuned down lower now, and they didn't back in the 70s and 80s. They played probably regular tuning.
And I thought for the most part he held his own without a doubt, man. I mean, just prowling that stage like this big silverback gorilla.
He is great. A heavy metal
hitting
caricature.
the notes, and it was pretty cool. Then they went to kind of my era, so I came along in the Screaming for Vengeance, Defenders of the Faith era. I'm a little bit younger.
I came along Hellbent for Leather. Hellbent for Leather, Unleashed in the East, Point of Entry, and then by the time Screaming for Vengeance came out, I was into punk rock, so I kind of was a little bit off the bandwagon. Although I still liked them, but around Screaming for Vengeance is when I kind of got off the train.
Folks, so I always look to you guys as like my big brothers that are introducing me to some cool music I haven't heard. So going through your record collection. So Bloodstone was fantastic. I think that's the first time they've played that in concert since 1990, so almost 20 years. It was great. Then they went really off track from the Sin After Sin album and hit Saints in Hell, which I had to go back because I wasn't that familiar with the song, so I had to go back to Sin After Sin and listen to it. And I thought that I love when bands pull out the rarities. I mean, that's really cool.
Yes.
And then, of course, after that, they played Turbo Lover, and everybody has opinions on that.
I like
and
that
whole
one.
album. At least they didn't play Parental Guidance.
Yeah, that's not that good. I like Turbo Lover. I think it's a great tune. Don't you?
Oh yeah,
That was the album where KK and Glenn got guitar synthesizers, and they decided to play with them. Yeah.
We were spared that.
But I have no problem with them taking chances. They took chances on Point of Entry too, and made a pop album.
Yeah.
Fucking great album. That's my favorite Judas Priest album.
Yeah.
Great album. Turn in Circles. Come on.
Lots of.
And what's not to like of that video, Hot Rockin' in the gym with all the guys?
Yeah.
Live in concert, it's less of the synth guitar stuff and sounded pretty good, so that was good. And then to me, the biggest surprise of the night, and actually one of the high points, I thought, they played Angel off the Angel of the Retribution album, which again, another one I'm not that familiar with. But they sang it in that, Rob sang it in that key where he's just singing, and I thought
That's my favorite Rob
fantastic, and he sounded just awesome on that song. If you're not familiar with it, go back and check it out. It's worth it. Then back to a new one, Evil Never Dies, which was great. I was hoping they would play Traitors Gate, especially after listening to your review, because I thought that would have been a great one to play live, but they didn't.
By the way, thank you to everybody who sent me the positive reinforcements about the Judas Priest show review, or track by track. That made me feel good. I got a lot of good reception for that. I appreciate it, friends.
Then back to actually the only song I think off of Defenders of the Faith. They played some Heads Are Gonna Roll. Again,
That's
one they hadn't played in a long
That's a
time.
sing-along.
Fantastic. And then they kind of went to the staples. So they finished the show up with all the ones that you thought they would
the
do.
Hits. Hellbent.
Breaking the Law. Hellbent for Leather.
Got to do Hellbent because they got to come out on the Harley.
Closed the main part of the show with Painkiller, and had a really cool video tribute to Glenn Tipton on the screen behind him, which I thought was classy, and that was cool.
Yeah. To thank everybody for not turning in their tickets after finding out.
Then, of course, they take the break, come back for the encore, recorded, the Hellion recorded, then Electric Eye, which, again, one of my all-time favorites.
Still no Living After
then
Midnight.
To Metal Gods.
Oh, it's a good one, too.
You've Got Another Thing Coming, and Living After Midnight was how they wrapped it up. So the fourth
I
song
don't
off
care
of
if
it
I
is-
never see Priest play Living After Midnight again. I love that album, but yeah, that's like Aerosmith doing Train Kept a Rolling. I don't care, and Cheap Trick doing I Want You to Want Me.
Deal. So, nothing from Point of Entry.
Yeah,
3 off the new album, which was pretty cool.
I would like to have heard Heading Out to the Highway, which I think they did that on the last tour, maybe. I would like to hear on Desert Plains. When I saw them on that tour, on Point of Entry tour, they opened with On Desert Plains.
He hasn't mentioned anything off Stained Class yet either.
No.
That's a great
I would like to hear Call for the Priest, I'm dying. I would have lost my shit if they'd have played that one, man.
Andy
And bring on the Here Come, what is it? Bring on the Tears or Here Come the Tears? Here Come the Tears.
I know there's a lot of people
I gotta
talking
pull out
about
my
him. I mean, the
Priest
dude
now.
looked
Hold on a
like,
second
he was the keyboard player from Bon Iver or something, with the beard and whatever. It looked like Rob took him back and dressed him up in some leather. I won't say he didn't look uncomfortable, but you could tell this was kind of a new thing for him. In the mix that they had on the music, his sound was down, so it wasn't a true trade-off of leads like Glenn and KK used to do.
See, that's the Priest. That's the signature
But he had a couple,
Priest.
especially there at the end with You've Got Another Thing Coming and Living After Midnight. And Metal Gods, they kind of traded off. So of the solos in the whole show, I would say he probably did.
Hold on, I'm interrupting. A little bit of Here Come the Tears. Listen to this. Did I play this before? I don't know if I...
No.
This is the kind of Priest I like. I'm get right back to you in a second, Joe Pawlak. Oh, yeah. That's good. But then it gets heavier. The solo... Then Halford coming back in. Oh, I would have lost my shit if they'd have played this, man. Listen. That's a power ballad. Oh, okay. All right. Back to you, Joe Pawlak. Oh, fuck. That's good.
But he had a couple, especially there at the end with You've Got Another Thing Coming and Living After Midnight. And Metal Gods, they kind of traded off. So of the solos in the whole show, I would say he probably did maybe 10 to 15%. Most of it was Richie Faulkner. So Sneap held his own. I think he was okay. He didn't look that great. Second show on the tour. But
something about a bald-headed guy. I mean, there's only room for one bald-headed guy in Priest to me.
It's kind of odd.
It was fantastic.
And a beard, a bald-headed guy with a beard.
Hipster beard.
Yeah. Come on, man. Nothing against Andy Sneap. He's a well-respected metal guy. I know everybody. He even produced Exodus, by the way. But, yeah, what are you going to do?
And it played off the crowd. I mean, definitely you looked at Rob, but you looked at Richie a ton, and he did really well. First time I actually had seen him.
He's great.
Ian Hill, solid.
Great.
Scotty Travis, solid.
Yep.
Rob was Rob, man. That's why you go to see the show. And so anyway, if anybody's considering going, I'd say definitely do it. I mean,
I went to the show to see KK and Glenn Tipton. Richie Faulkner does a good job of replacing KK. So without Glenn Tipton, I don't know. I'm not the good set list though.
Our legends are getting older, man. I mean, Rob's 67 years old. And but it was great to see him. It was a good crowd. Second show of the tour, so I'm sure it'll get better as it goes along. So I definitely recommend you see it. The one thing it did remind me, I saw Maiden with my daughter last summer, and those dudes really bring it. I mean, Bruce Dickinson was off the charts,
yes.
And I thought they did a fantastic job. It really made you realize how great a job that Maiden does after seeing Judas Priest.
Oh, really? Yeah.
Anyway, that's my show review. I hope you enjoyed it. I know a lot of people have differing opinions on whether to see him or not. I thought it was worth it. Good show. Sounded pretty good. Again, Rob is, you got to set your expectations, right? So it certainly wasn't 1986 Priest, but I thought they did a really good job, and I'd definitely go see it again if I could. So remember this, Michael. Never turn your back on the Reaper.
Okay.
Or the Ripper.
How much did you...
Exactly. All right, man. Stay hell-bent for weather, my friend.
Never turn your back on the Ripper. How much did you pay for your ticket, Joe Pawlak? I forgot to ask you that. I would pay $25 to go see this tour. I wouldn't pay more than that. Definitely take it for free, but I would definitely not pay $60 or $250. $60 was face value, but now you got to get on the secondary market here for $250. They're playing a great venue called the Warfield here.
I actually attempted, that was my initial.
Yeah, you were going to come out to see Priest instead of The Darkness.
Yeah, because I mainly wanted to see Black Star Riders. So this is like January.
Yeah,
it had already. They were already asking that insane range, 200 to 300. So I was like, plan B.
And if they would have announced Glenn Tipton was not doing the show before tickets went on sale, I bet you it wouldn't have sold nearly as much. That's what kind of pisses me off a little bit. You really think they had no idea that Glenn Tipton wasn't going to be doing the tour before they started booking this thing or before tickets went on sale? I have my doubts.
Well, what can you say?
Can you blame them for not? They need to sell tickets.
Yeah.
But as they say, it is what it is, friends. All right. You too can leave a show review. Area code 706-621-ROCK, or you can do like Joe Pawlak did and Paul Raub and email the comment to me, record it on your phone and email it to rockandrollgeek@gmail.com. All right, back to you, Michael Street. What are we going to play?
At some point over the weekend, we got into a discussion about how we have a, mutual appreciation for Black Sabbath, Born Again.
Oh, yeah. Yes.
So if anybody actually knows that record, the Sonics on it are...
They're horrible. The horrible production, but it's so fucking heavy. And you told me something that I didn't realize, that they lost the master tapes or something like that. Maybe that's why it sounds so bad. They lost the master tape. Maybe it's like a third-generation cassette mix or something like that.
Yeah, they'll reissue it, but, it's...
They remastered it, and it still sounds like shit, doesn't it?
They're remastering it from a CD,
yeah,
not the, 2-inch tape.
Right. So,
I mentioned to you about a Ian Gillan record that, this is like 10 years... at least, 2000, let's see,
And we also reminisced about Ian Gillan. By the way, Jesus Christ Superstar is on TV in about 45 minutes. So we got to get. Actually, no, they're on TV in 20. It's on TV in 20 minutes. Oh shit, we're gonna have to wrap this thing up soon.
Oh, I forgot. My
Christ
mind is thinking.
Ian Gillan sang on Jesus Christ Superstar soundtrack, and it's coming on TV tonight with Alice Cooper going to be on it.
Yeah, so we both kind of agreed that, let's watch it. So I told you about an Ian Gillan record where he re-records, songs throughout his career, and he re-records Trashed off of Born Again.
All he does. How about that?
And this
Which
is
is a
actually
great tune.
It's actually featuring, Tony Iommi, Roger Glover, and Ian Pace. So it's like a fusion of Sabbath and Deep Purple.
Uh-huh.
And the production on it sounds considerably better.
All right, we're going to listen to that.
So let's go to Ian Gillan.
This is the first for me. I've never heard this. I can't wait.
Trashed.
Ian Gillan.
Watch me climb into my car. I was going
Oh yeah. Oh, that guy writes great. He's way underrated to me. He's a fucking great singer, and he writes great lyrics. I like the fact he tells stories in his songs. The bitch was trashed. It's great, man. But if you don't have Born Again, what album is that one on? What album, Ian Gillan solo album is that on?
That is an album called Gillan's In, and
does he do all covers on that?
Well, it's re-recordings.
Oh, he re-records all of his old stuff.
Yeah, so you can kind of.
So it's got
a lot of high A-list guests on it as well.
I don't know a lot of these songs. Hang Me Out to Dry and
look at
Men of War. I don't know any of those songs, but yeah.
See, look, the guy Johnny
Rez. Oh,
original
version from Double Trouble. Oh, I got it from Machine Head. All right, yeah, there you go. From Ian Gillan's solo album Dreamcatcher. He redoes Smoke on the Water, too. Nice. There you go. I love Ian Hunter. That guy's great. Or Ian Gillan. I wish they would do a Black Sabbath Born Again lineup tour.
I don't know if...
nobody would go to that. Nobody would go see that, but I would.
How about one show?
That album is so good. It's one of the worst album covers of all time, too, and it's so bad it's a great album cover with the little devil baby.
I remember seeing that in the store and knowing not to ask if, my parents would buy it for me.
That album is just so evil sounding. It's great. All right, we're going to have to wrap this thing up soon. I got one more audio comment. Hello, caller.
Hey, Michael Butler, what's up? This is Mike Mack calling in with the review from the Michael Schenker.
Friend of the show, Mike Mack, and also a donor. So we got a triple shot of donors calling in. I saw Michael Mack at the Michael Schenkerfest show last week. It was last week or the week before in San Jose. Which, by the way, I have some thoughts, but I'll wait and hear what Mike Mack has to say about it.
Over the weekend in San Jose. I saw Michael Schenker a few years ago for the first time ever at the Rock Bar and was completely blown away. It was that night that I had vowed to myself that the next time he would come through this area, I would make sure I was there, and this was the time for me to see him in San Jose. So, as you are aware...
We saw him at Yoshi's. Same venue I saw, the East Bay version of the venue that I saw Peter Wolf in, all seated. Held about maybe 150 people. And this time the show held about 2,500, and it was full.
This fest took place at the City National Civic in San Jose on March 24th. And here are my 5 key takeaways from that gig.
All right.
Number 5. If a security guard approaches you at a show for hitting your vape pen, do not let him confiscate it.
Oh, yeah. Michael Mack was vaping pot at the show.
I made this
he offered some to me, but I was sick. I couldn't do it.
Our mistake on Saturday night and completely regret it.
You gave him
for
your
Christ's sakes, I obviously wasn't the only one in there burning weed, was I? Number 4. 4 lead
So he confiscated your vape pen. Oh, well. Sorry to hear that.
Going about the stage throughout the show while alternating lead vocals was very interesting to see. Especially interesting was when they shared verses during the UFO numbers.
Yeah. Okay.
Based on my impression of each singer, I came away and made the conclusion that the tour bus must either be a non-stop party.
Oh, I would love to be on that tour bus with those singers, to all exchanging stories. That would be a lot of fun.
Or an egotistical clusterfuck.
No, I don't think there were. I bet you it wasn't an egotistical clusterfuck because they were all smiling on stage. I bet that tour bus is fun. Probably doesn't smell that great, but it's probably a fun tour bus. Because he pulled those guys out of cobwebs. Gary Barton was probably not doing anything, and Graham Bonnet probably not doing anything. Which, by the way, neither of those two guys sang on key at any point in the entire concert. Even when they were all 4 singers were on stage harmonizing together, it was like 2 guys singing on key and 2 guys singing off key, but it was very entertaining to watch nonetheless. And here's one of my takeaways. Robin McCauley looked like a heavy metal drag queen, but still quite entertaining.
Doppelgangers. Doogie White, great vocalist, and he was spot on performing that night. but I could not escape the comparisons, the physical comparisons at least, to Jack Black while watching Doogie perform.
I didn't notice Jack Black, but okay.
We're on the topic of doppelgangers. Robin McCauley. Does he look a lot like Fee Waybill?
He does look a little bit like Fee Waybill back in the old days when Fee Waybill had long hair. Yes, he does. He's got that pointed nose.
Or is it just me?
He looks like Fee Waybill if Fee Waybill was in drag, wearing heavy metal outfit.
Number 2. There are a lot of dudes that dig Michael Schenkerfest.
Oh, yes. It was all worshiping Michael Schenker worshiping dudes. I'm going to go out on a limb and say something could be construed as homophobic, but if Michael Schenker would have dropped his pants, every guy in that audience would have got up on stage and serviced him. I guarantee you.
I'd say it was a good 80 to 20% ratio, guys.
80-20? Okay, that's being generous.
That night at the Civic in attendance. Now, that's not a bad thing, of course. Just came off as a little bit of a sausage fest.
Uh-huh. Well, what do you
my
expect?
number one key takeaway from the Michael Schenker Fest in San Jose over the weekend, the show did not disappoint. He still has the chops. He can still play.
He's better than he
ever was. The band sounded great. All the vocalists were spot on. And even though I got there an hour into the gig, it was well worth the price of admission.
You got there an hour late?
My main highlight, though, I'd have to say the solo during Rock Bottom. Pure bliss. It was just off the charts great solo. And in my opinion, worth the price.
You had to sit through. He played like almost 3 hours, so you had to sit through 2 hours before you got to Rock Bottom. But still, was fun.
Alone. So I'd be interested to hear what your thoughts are on the show that night. Great seeing you and chatting it up, and we'll talk to you soon. Later on, man.
Thank you for the audio comment, Michael Mack. And also, thank you to Eric Mortensen. He had a pre-party at the... Eric Mortensen took me and Craig Bearhorse to the Michael Schenker show, and he had a Schenkerfest pre-party at his house where everybody geeked out on Michael Schenker videos for the entire pre-show. People were downing Jägermeisters. I was downing Tecates. Good times were had by all. It was a bunch of geek. It was full of those dudes who would have got up and serviced Michael Schenker had he asked, and maybe 2 girls, but they didn't go to the show. It was fun, a good time. Thanks again, Eric Mortensen. All right, back to you, Michael Street. We got to go watch Jesus Christ Superstar. It comes on in 10 minutes, so we should probably wrap this up, right?
All right, you want to play one more song?
Yes.
All right, so when I was in high
school... By the way, thank you for coming to visit. I really appreciate it. It was
Thank
nice
you for having me.
I mean... What do you think of my house and stuff?
I wish I had one next door. And
did you have a good time here? You think we were hospitable and stuff?
More than I could have ever imagined.
Really? He's being sarcastic.
No, I mean, all jokes aside, I mean...
You'll never come back.
I mean, everything, you could ever want. I mean, you provide. I mean, it was just, everybody here is so nice.
Except hand jobs.
Well, I didn't request one.
That's true. Thank God. I would have had, well, Anita's here. All right, enough of that.
I mean, the Salukis are
my dogs.
Friendly. I did not get attacked. I just,
nope.
They laid on me as if I was here all the time.
That's right. They loved you.
Yeah, that was great.
We're going to go, once we finish the show, we're going to go have some Cuban chicken stew that I've had going in the pressure cooker.
Now, does this Jesus Christ Superstar, does that cancel out the Giants game?
No, we're going to switch. We're going to do like Martina's doing. Martina told me that her and her boyfriend are switching back and forth. So we're going to go back and forth.
You don't have like one of those 80s like picture-in-picture things?
I don't know if I do or not. I'm definitely going to record Jesus Christ Superstar though, and go back and forth, and then go back and forth watching it. So, all right, we're going to watch the Giants game and Jesus Christ Superstar because Alice Cooper's on it. I don't know who else is on the show. If it could be lame because you could have American Idol people singing. One thing for sure, it won't be Ian Gillan singing the parts of Jesus.
Whoever they what? Who's Alice Cooper? What's his character?
The bad guy. I don't know.
Satan.
Is it Herod or something like that?
Yeah, I think that's it. Yeah. Herod.
All right, so what are we going to hear?
there was a band I really loved when I was in high school. I'm a huge power pop fan, and it was Jellyfish. And then they broke up, and out of the ashes of Jellyfish, for one record, Imperial Drag was formed. And we're
Did you send me that CD, the Imperial Drag?
I certainly did.
Okay.
And I'm going to play a track about a drug dealer named Spider.
All right. Thank you for hold on before you hit play. Thank you, Michael Street, for coming to visit. Thank you for all the donations to the show you've done. You're like, as they do on the No Agenda show, you would be like a grand knight already. So I appreciate that.
I would be a sir.
It was nice having you at my house, and I enjoyed you being here. And I tried to be as hospitable as I could, making breakfast and stuff. And it was nice having you. It was very nice hanging out with you at the Darkness show last night and drinking and eating.
Could you whip up Eggs Benedict tomorrow morning before you go to work?
I will try. I'll do my best. And thank you, friends, for sticking with this episode and for sticking with all the episodes. I apologize for the coughing. Thank you, everybody, for the donations. Please keep the donations coming. Without your donations, once again, this show would die horrible, putrid, stench-filled, blah, blah, blah. All right. What are we going to hear? Imperial Drag.
Nice love song about a drug dealer called Spider.
All right. Thanks for listening, friends. You know how to reach me, rockandrollgeek@gmail.com, rockandrollgeek.com, Facebook, RnRGeek, Twitter, RnRGeek, Instagram, rockandrollgeek, don't ask. I could have kept talking. There's no music playing. Da-da-da, da-da-da. Michael Street is running the board here, friends.
User error.
Uh-oh. Ooh, do I need to pull it up on my computer? All right, here we go. Uh-oh, I better hit pause. Hold on. This is why you do not rely on streaming music services, friends. You rely on a buggy, outdated iTunes. Here's Spider. We'll talk to you soon, friends.
You're rushing us into the music. In fact, you should tend to lean back a little. They call it laid back. It's a sordid term, but that's how it's used. Just
It's a rock and roll geek train wreck.